A billionaire who brought Formula One racing to Singapore has just pleaded guilty in one of the country's most closely watched corruption-linked cases. Ong Beng Seng, the 79-year-old Malaysian tycoon and majority shareholder of Singapore GP, has admitted to abetting in the obstruction of justice in a case deeply tied to former Transport Minister S Iswaran. Here's what happened. Back in December 2022, Ong invited Minister Iswaran on a trip to Doha, Qatar. Iswaran took Ong's private jet there, stayed a night at the luxurious Four Seasons Hotel, and returned to Singapore the next day via business class. The whole trip cost about $20,800, all paid for by Ong through Singapore GP. At that time, Iswaran was the chairman of the government's Formula One steering committee, making this trip a major conflict of interest. But the real twist came months later. Around May 2023, the Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau, or CPIB, discovered the flight manifest for Iswaran's private jet ride. Ong was tipped off by his own associates, and he quickly told Iswaran about it. In response, Iswaran asked Ong to send him an invoice for the trip through Singapore GP, almost as if to retroactively make the trip seem legitimate. Ong agreed. Later, Iswaran paid $5,700 by check to Singapore GP, months after the trip. Prosecutors say this act, alerting Iswaran and helping him cover his tracks, amounts to obstruction of justice. Ong pleaded guilty on the 4th of August. A second charge, involving him abetting a public servant in accepting gifts, was taken into consideration. The prosecution initially said they'd ask for 8 weeks of jail time, reduced from 12 weeks because Ong pleaded guilty early. They stressed the seriousness of the crime, especially since it involved a sitting minister and could impact public confidence in Singapore's clean reputation. However, Ong's defense made a strong appeal for judicial mercy. His lawyer, Kavinder Bull, revealed that Ong suffers from advanced multiple myeloma, a rare and aggressive form of bone marrow cancer. It severely weakens his immune system, making him highly vulnerable to infections. Ong also has vascular disease in both feet, spine infection risks, and high fall risk. His medical condition is so fragile that even a minor emergency in jail could be life-threatening. Because of these serious health conditions, the prosecution agreed that prison time might not be appropriate. If judicial mercy is granted, they're asking for a $30,000 fine instead of jail time. The judge will make a final decision on sentencing in the afternoon of 15th of August. Now, this brings up a bigger question. Should severe health conditions be a reason to avoid prison for white-collar crimes? And does this set a precedent for how influential figures are treated in our justice system? If you are still watching this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, 2230.